cousin, who is younger than me, is getting married today. Meanwhile, I have credit card debt. I am in a toxic situationship with one of my exes. Last week, I was so broke that instead of getting an Uber to the airport, I had a random guy from Hinge drive me. And this year, I have had chlamydia twice. So far. Happy wedding.
All right, guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a quick email that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, he's in his 40s, he is a father of 2 kids, and he shares his story from like 10 years ago when he was out with the kids at like Burger King or McDonald's or something like that, and saw firsthand an example of the Sodom Gomorrah 2.0 world that we're living in here. And in particular, this focuses on parenting and all that. And what you're about to hear about really hits home of how it's so important for all you parents out there or future parents out there, how important it is that you must be good parents to your kids, raising them on a moral, proper ground. And being in a position that you're going to be the bad guy sometimes in the kids' eyes, especially as teenagers, to make sure that they do things right. Because if you try to go down the route of being the popular parent, the cool parent, trying to be your kid's best friend, you may not raise them properly for real life, and they can end up being screw-ups. And you can end up raising your grandkids, your great-grandkids. In this story here, you're going to see that. And what I'm going to go into, you're going to hear about some very nice people, great-grandparents, but still, it's a bigger point. And I'm addressing that because it's quite important here. Because so much of what's wrong in our society, in my opinion, and I know I'm preaching here, comes down to very bad parenting. And a lot nowadays, the parents are terrible. So he says here, hi SSM. I'm a married guy with 2 kids. Now sadly, like so many other men, I'm in the process of a divorce. Sorry to hear that, man. I guess that's how you found the channel. Well, you can get through it. I will have that story for you probably sometime in the next 6 to 8 months or whenever it is finally over. I'm 44 years old now, and you can call me Nick for the story. I'm one that has been watching many R-pilled channels over the last 2 years, but by far, your 3 are my favorite. You're honest and straight to the point. I know you have helped so many guys out there while commenting on the do's and don'ts and what to watch out for women. Well, brother, I appreciate you watching the channel. I'm glad it's helpful. Watch it every day. This will help give you the strength to get through this divorce. Guys, give him a shout out in the comment section. Let him know he can get through this. You're going to be okay. I live just north of where you used to live when you were in Massachusetts. I work remotely for my company and absolutely love the work. I wanted to bring this quick little story to your attention, and whether you actually read it on one of your 3 channels, well, that's up to you. Well, brother, you actually sent me this story some time ago, and I put it on my desk, and it ended up being covered up by a couple books, and I just found this today. No joke. So I'm sorry it took so long, but it was covered up. I literally put it aside to read this, but shit happens. Better late than never. Well, the other night I was watching some of your older videos from 3 years ago, and one that really stuck to me was one about a guy that found out that his girlfriend had cheated one party night, and he ended up DNA testing his kid. He discovered he was not the father and moved all of his stuff to her parents' house, along with the baby and the DNA test results. The story goes on to say that the ex started drinking and lost her job. You made a comment about not knowing that the baby was in foster care, or if her parents are in fact caring for the child. Sadly, so many kids nowadays do end up in foster care. That got me thinking about something I encountered some time ago. In fact, it was 10 years ago, and at the time my daughter was 7 years old, and my son was only 7 months old. Yeah, a lot of kids end up in foster care because the parents are fucking shitheads. Such a shame. My daughter loved to go out with me to one of the famous fast food places like so many kids do. We used to do this 2 to maybe 3 times a month. Her favorite order was the Chicken McNuggets Happy Meal. This was one night we had chosen to go to Burger King, and it was just her and I, as my wife was out with our son and one of her friends' homes who had an infant. Man, I remember back in the day being a little kid, going to McDonald's, going on the playground, and getting a Happy Meal. Those were good times. My grandma loved to take me to McDonald's. It's fucking cool. There, McDonald's got some free advertising. We were waiting in line to order food with an old woman. My guess was 64 to 68 years old. She was in front of us with 2 kids, a girl about my daughter's age and a boy about 5 years old. Both kids were very, very well behaved, like my daughter, being quite outgoing with the other kids, and started talking to the other girl. I mean, we were in line for maybe 6 to 8 minutes, and she knew the girl's name, age, grade, and what school she went to. My daughter was excited as the girl was the same age, grade, and lived just one town over. The woman gets her food and walks to a table with the two kids and sits down to eat. We then get our food and start looking for a table to sit, and the other girl waves my daughter over. The older lady sees this and looks at me and waves me over to sit with her. This type of stuff must happen all the time when you're a parent with little kids. Well, of course, my daughter is so excited, so I proceed to sit down next to the woman, and my daughter sits across from me next to the other girl. I introduce myself, as does she. I then, really not knowing her relationship to the kids, made the comment, "So, you're out tonight for something special with the grandkids?" I knew they were not her kids, as she was definitely too old to be a mother of kids that age. Her response just blew me away. Here we go. She looked at me and said, "No, they are my great-grandkids, and my husband and I have full custody." Great-grandkids, meaning her daughter and her grandkids are fuck-ups. Yep, you heard that right. Great-grandkids, and her husband were raising them. Well, that left me speechless for a good moment. I had so many things running through my mind, but I just had a blank stare. Like, what the fuck? Where are the kids' mom and dad? Where are the kids' grandma and grandpa? Like, come the F on, how does this even happen? It happens because people are screw-ups. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, well, these great-grandparents here did some messing up because their child screwed up and that, but, I mean, since they're great-grandparents, I'm going to assume they were old school, but simply they just had some bad seeds, who knows? No parent's perfect, but still. Well, she obviously saw my shock and simply said both her daughter and granddaughter followed the path of certain drugs. She did not list what drugs, and I really did not want to know, but said her and her husband decided to take the kids before they got thrown into foster care. That is so good of them. Some people think that that's just their job, they have to do that, and we can debate that one, but think about it. The kids go into the foster care system, wards of the state, a lot of kids get messed up, and they're scumbag parents and grandparents. What a shame. But these are nice people. Sodom Gomorrah 2.0 world where their fucking kids and grandkids messed up. Well, she goes on to say that she had to get a full-time job to help pay bills, as her husband's income wouldn't cover the children's expenses. I thought it was so touching knowing both husband and wife pushed their retirement out, maybe forever, to care for these two kids. He says, come on, the boy being only 5 years old, that means if this couple ever gets to retire, it won't be until they're close to 80 years old. Yes. Yes. And yet, notice how he described their daughter, the great-granddaughter, as being super well-behaved and outgoing. These are good people. And this is what old school people would do. Good things. Who knows the story about their kids and grandkid, the ones that fucked everything up, but still. Well, she and I chatted during the dinner, and I learned neither the woman's daughter or granddaughter had any men in their lives, so it really points out to the world what we live in, and has even gotten worse over the last 10 years. Dude, sadly, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. SSM, your famous line, Sodom Gomorrah 2.0, is so true. So very sad about the world we live in now. I wish I had more to the story, but we never saw them again. To this day, I still feel really bad for her and her husband getting ready to live the rest of their lives with no worries and enjoy their last years as a retired couple, only to be pushed back to be full-time parents. I do, however, really admire them for giving up their own future for the welfare of their two kids. Foster care being their only other choice, and we know how tough that is on kids. Both daughter and granddaughter should never had kids. To quote the famous South Park line from Mr. Mackey, drugs are bad, okay? A fellow South Park fan. Well, there you go, guys. Like he said and I said, Sodom Gomorrah 2.0. These are good people, these great-grandparents taking these kids in. They'll probably actually live to be very old because they now have purpose. A lot of people, when they get to their 60s and 70s, run out of new things to do and they get really bored. That's kind of a big reason people they wind down so quickly, but they have to stay sharp mentally and physically to take care of those kids. Sure, they would probably prefer to be doing something else with their time. I would love to hear a story like these kids, when the kids did well in school, graduated doing very well, made something themselves and really took care of themselves and had nothing to do with their shithead parents or grandparents. But these great-grandparents, they're awesome people. There are good people in this world. But back to the point, guys. We don't know the whole story, what happened with these nice people's children and then grandchildren that caused this whole mess. And no parent is perfect, but makes the point. For you parents out there, or you're going to be future parents out there, make your priority being a parent to your kids, not being their best friend, especially during the teenage years. I've seen this too many freaking times, and it's a disaster, okay? You have to be unpopular. Being unpopular and putting them in the right direction is far better than being popular and not preparing them for adulthood. Because if you don't prepare them, guess what? You could end up raising their kids or great-grandkids. My parents never ever try to be popular with me and my sister. My sister was always a good kid, so it wasn't a problem. I was a rascal, to put it mildly, growing up, and my old school military father didn't take any shit, never was my best friend. He even told me one time, I love you, but I don't like you, when I was a teenager getting in trouble all the time. And it wasn't until I grew the fuck up that he started treating me like a friend, and I wasn't until I was like 20 years old, out of high school, getting somewhere in the world. But no, there was none of this best friend shit back then. My dad would have no problem whooping my ass in Disneyland if I got out of line at the park. I could be there getting a picture taken with Donald Duck or Goofy, and if I was out of line, whoosh, I get a butt kicking, and I would deserve it. And that taught me things. But they were great parents, and they prepared me for adulthood. So there's a lesson there. But anyhow, bro, I appreciate you sharing this. I know this is very late because I found this on my desk. But I'm hoping you're through your divorce now and you survived this. And if you hear this video, definitely send your story if you haven't done so already. Letting me know how things are going, how to go through the divorce. We can all hear it. So, guys, there you go. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me hear you think about it in the comment section. For you guys that are parents, are you honestly raising your kids and preparing for the adult world? Or have you fucked up and you're trying to be their best friend? Or have you observed this other people and seen the problems that has happened? I'd like to hear about that. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.